Welcome to another exciting episode of the Youth Care Podcast, where we talk about everything affecting young people's health, in particular, self-care. I'm your host, Albert Chinyante, and I'm not alone in studio. I'm with...
My name is Francine Walia.
Priscilla Muzamba.
Priscilla, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm all right, Francine.
I'm good. A bit nervous, but I'm okay.
A bit nervous?
Yeah.
Oh, give me a fist bump.
That's better.
It's better?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on this particular episode, we'll be talking about something very interesting, which has been affecting young people for the longest. How to prevent STIs. So, Francine, before we dive into the conversation, can you give us a brief background of what you do, where you're coming from, so that the young people who are watching and listening can get to know you?
Oh, I'm a peer educator, a young person. I'm a first-year student at NIPA pursuing my degree in social work. I'm also a volunteer under the Planned Parenthood Association of Zambia and a youth hub facilitator under SAT, which stands for Sexual and Reproductive Health Rights Africa Trust. And yeah, I'm just a young person.
That's quite a CV, a very big one.
Okay, great. So just to get to know you a bit better, I'm going to ask you a few questions just to break the ice.
Please, thank
First
you.
of all, first question, true or false? You can get STIs from kissing.
True. Most people think you don't, but you can.
I was thinking the answer was false, but I think I have a lot to learn today. Yes or no? Is it awkward to ask a partner about their STI status?
Well, depending on who you're dating and depending who your sexual partner is, it can be a bit awkward, but that's something young people need to get comfortable with because you're protecting yourself at the end of the day. So it can be a bit awkward, but you can get through it. So it's a gray area. Can be yes or no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last one. What's harder, going for an STI test or asking someone out on a date?
If you ask me, I'm a paternal princess. I think asking someone out on a date would be way harder for me. I take my health very seriously, so STI checkups are nothing new to me. The only thing is that new permanent, I hate injections. But yeah, it's more of, for me, I would say asking Albert out on a date would be very awkward. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be nervous. I'm friendly.
It will be very awkward, but young people should prioritize their health. So I think it's just a boy, it's just a girl, you get over it. But go for checkups. It's very important.
All right, so just to kickstart the conversation, how can you define STIs?
So STIs are basically sexually transmitted infections or diseases. We used to call them STDs when we were younger, grade 6, grade 5. Yeah, STIs, STDs. So these are via sexual contact, be it vaginal, be it the mouth, be it the anus. As long as there's been sexual penetration, you will get an infection. So when you're asked, can you get STIs from kissing? Yes, you can.
Can you explain more on it? How can you get STIs from kissing?
So their STIs are in like 3 categories. Yeah. You have STIs that are caused by parasites. You have STIs that are caused by viruses, and you have STIs that are caused by bacteria. So the most common one that you get via kissing is warts. They grow like skin tags. You've seen how your mouth is, right?
Yeah.
But then you start growing they start growing on top of each other. So they basically look like broccoli. You see what?
Yes,
that. So you can get those via kissing. You can get them in your throat. You can get them in your mouth. Then you can also get syphilis and herpes. So these are very common, and it's the most common type of STIs amongst people in the world. So even just physical contact like this with someone that has herpes or someone that has you will get it. So with kissing, there's exchange of saliva and whatnot, right? So you get them in your throat.
Okay. So the things you've mentioned, I've been thinking that those are myths. and misconceptions, getting STIs via kissing or just maybe by contact. So now my question is, what are some of the myths, the actual myths and misconceptions around STIs?
So the most common one is, like you said, you can't get, people think you can get STIs via kissing. Only people that have multiple sexual partners will get STIs. You can't get STIs if you're not sexually active. This is a two-way thing, because you have STIs like HIV, right? And then HIV can be transmitted via mother to child, right? Yeah. So one might not even be sexually active, but because maybe during birth they can have the HIV virus. Like I said, my STI is like caused by parasites, bacteria, and viruses. The common one, like HIV, is viruses. So when one is not sexually active, they can still get STIs, like I said, maybe via physical contact, mother-child transmission. Even the other most common one is like accidents, road accidents, right? Where young people on a bus or people on a car have been in a car crash, then there's exchange of fluids like blood, body fluids like blood. So you can get STIs like that. And the other misconception that young people think is only adults can get STIs as long as you're sexually active.
I mean, we're young.
Yes, we're young. If anything, what they are, well, those who are young, blood ditamanga maning, you get it, right? So you need to be very careful about the myths and misconceptions around STIs.
Okay. So the big question is that, are they treatable?
Yes, they are. Actually, there are some STIs that are treatable and some that are curable. So there are two types that can be treated, and then that can be cured. There are some that do not have cure but are manageable. Those are what we call treatable. And then there are some that you can treat with antibiotics. Let me just give you a few examples. The ones that are caused by viruses. Example is HIV. That one cannot be cured, but it can be managed, right? So you cannot cure HIV. You can only manage it with medication. And then there's chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. Those can be cured with antibiotics. So the minute you feel strange, go for checkups. Then you will know what you have. When you're tested, you know what you have. And it is easy for them to manage what you have. Either it's curable or it's just manageable.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I like that you mentioned that most young people think that STIs are for the adults. But recently we've seen quite an increase in the rates of STI infections among young people. So with your experience, why do you think that's the case?
So basically, I'd like to say young people are not knowledgeable about it, but then there are other people that know and just choose to be ignorant. So young people, when it comes to stuff to do with their health, with our health, stuff to do with reading, we hate reading. So if you just want to hide information from black people, put in a book, and they won't be know, because people think, like an example, people don't know that there's some STIs that are curable and there's some STIs that are manageable. Yeah. So you will find young people have multiple sexual partners because maybe that's the in thing, right? We're living in a trendy world, and young people want to be with what's in trend. So they are influenced by what they're watching, what they're seeing, and if your role model is telling you, oh, just get sugar daddies, just get sugar mummies, it's a good thing, you don't know who that person is sleeping with, right? And Lusaka has a very big web. So I might be faithful to my sexual partner, but my sexual partner is not faithful to me, and they have other sexual partners who have other sexual partners. So like that, you don't know where you're going to get what you get, because you don't know who your other partner is sleeping with.
Yeah, I want to touch on one aspect you mentioned on knowledge.
Yes.
What do you think is some of the reasons? Okay, let's say people have got the knowledge, right? Others don't, others do have.
Yes.
But those people that do have the knowledge, why don't they practice safer sex?
So basically, you'd find someone has the knowledge about how to prevent, to manage, and to protect themselves, right? Yeah. But because, I'll give an example in a group of young guys, right? Nobody wants to be called the Kembo. And that's the common thing. Young guys don't want to be called a Kembo. So you, me, her, and maybe other 3 people will be talking about safe sex, right? And then someone will say, bafana soma dwala. You can't get sick, especially if you're circumcised. You can't get sick, which is a myth. You can get sick even if you're circumcised. So young people don't want to not fit in, so they'll go with the crowd. If your friends are saying no, just go in raw. You can't eat. There's this saying that you can't have your lollipop or your sweet in a paper. You can't eat it with the paper, right? Because you won't get the flavor. Yeah. But that's basically just being ridiculous, because you know what people have, right? You know that diseases like gonorrhea, there's chlamydia, there's HIV. You have knowledge about it, but just because you don't want to look like you don't fit in, or you don't want to fit in with the crowd, you go with the crowd. Peer pressure, you go with the crowd. And you find young people who have knowledge who tend to be ignorant about what they already know, because they don't want to look like they don't fit in.
Yeah, and they want to fit in.
Yes, they want to fit in.
So having that in mind, what are some of the preventive measures that young people can take to take better care of themselves?
My favorite is abstinence. Guys, abstinence, till this day, abstinence is change. We used to wear those t-shirts back in grade 6, grade 5, abstinence, where you find the t-shirt is abstinence is change. Virgin power, virgin pride.
Mine was written abstinence is change.
Yes, I was at Liwala Primary and mine was written abstinence is change. Abstinence is change till this date. If you can't abstain, be faithful to one sexual partner. Okay. If you can't be faithful, make sure you condomize. Condomize correctly and consistently. Don't do first round condom. After that, you even do the sign of the cross and you want to move on. No. Condomize, abstain, be faithful to one sexual partner. Also, go for regular checkups. Because when you go for regular checkups, you will know what you have or what you don't have. Mm-hmm. And also, I usually like to advise people starting new relationships. If you're not in a new relationship, let's go get tested together so that we can prevent the spread of STIs, if any of us has that we don't know, right? And the other one is also be in a monogamous relationship.
What do you mean by that?
By that is you and I, Albert, agree that one sexual partner, you and I, it's just you and me, not Albert with Albert with somebody else behind. No, it should be Albert and Francine only. Don't bring in other people.
But what's the guarantee? The other person is also going to be monogamous.
Yeah.
This is why I said be on the same page. Both be on the same page and agree, saying, me and you are just going to be me and you. Mm-hmm. If you're going to bring in a third party, let the other person know, mm-hmm. so that we can go for checkups. Because now you have things like open relationships, right?
Yeah.
So be somebody that understands how you value your health. Mm-hmm. So value your health and make the next person understand how much you value your health. Because you're not only risking my life, mm-hmm. but you're risking the people around me. So those are some of the ways. The other one is male circumcision. It plays a very huge role. Male circumcision plays a very huge role because there are certain STIs like HPV, human papillomavirus, mm-hmm. which is mostly found in the male, but can only be transmitted to the female. So the male might not get affected, but me, the female, will get affected. Mm-hmm. Then you have, I'll be affected with stuff like genital warts, which could also go on to cause cervical cancer in women. Yes.
Okay. I like that you mentioned that, fine, you're giving us all this knowledge about the preventive measures and whatnot, but what I've realized is, so in implementation science, we call it a no-do gap, right? Okay. People have the information, but we're trying to understand what is it that prevents them from actually acting or practicing what you've mentioned. So now, it does cause for, I think, more of such sessions, Albert, so that we can teach people preventive measures and also probably how to get regular checkups. So you're talking about regular checkups, but then where do I access these regular STI checkups, and how do I access them in a way that I'm not judged? Because I'll go as a young person and then they look at me and they're like, you're here to test for what, gonorrhea?
Yeah, because
you've been sleeping around.
What have you been doing?
In health facilities.
Yes.
They're very much judgmental about it.
So, government and its partners have taken a step further for young people and have provided things called youth-friendly corners, youth-friendly spaces. So in every government facility, you will find a youth-friendly corner or youth-friendly space. And then you have organizations like Copper Rose, PPSZ, SAT, Generation Alive. These people have partners that can help you get tested. So for starters, first, be interested in knowing where these places are found. Okay. So for government facilities, they're mostly in secluded areas where there isn't much traffic. That if I go in, I won't be told, hey, you want to test for gonorrhea because you've been sleeping around, you know? Yeah. Like, we're mostly scared of the attitudes of healthcare providers than actually dying, because your next door neighbor will know that you have syphilis. The next door neighbor, you know that you have gonorrhea. So you need to know where these places are found. So for Copper Rose, I'll let you guys talk about it. For PPSZ, we are located at the corner of Church Road and Dushembe Road, just opposite Evelyn Horn College, the main gate, and Fairview Hotel.
Okay.
Yes, then government facilities everywhere. You can go to Makeni Level 1, Challenge Level 1, Material Level 1, Kawata Clinic. So these hospitals have been made Level 1 hospitals. That's where you start before you are referred to UTH. You must get everything at a Level 1 hospital. So medication, treatment, prevention for STIs must be found at a Level 1 hospital. Then in youth-friendly corners, you find young people like yourselves that are open-minded. And it's easier for me to tell Albert, I think I'm not doing too well because he's of my age range, than me go and tell a grandma that I'll find in that department who told me, exactly. You understand? And they'll give me a lecture before they save my life. But before anything, they must treat me as a client before they treat me as a child. Because obviously I'm sexually active. This is the reason I've come here, and something is wrong with me. Before you judge me, before you criticize me, help me, then judge me later or criticize me later. But give me the help first. Yeah,
I think the challenge with them is that they fail to separate like the professional they become parents now instead of actually doing their work.
Exactly.
So what do I expect when I come to PPAZ for an STI
for
test?
An STI checkup, know that your blood will be drawn because you either give a blood sample, a urine sample, and you have to do a physical examination. Maybe checking for symptoms. Like, for example, if you're coming in for genital warts, like I've mentioned, because it's very common amongst people and people don't really know that. And then there's some STIs that don't even give symptoms. So you have to do a physical examination where you either do a vaginal swab. For the men, you do urethra swab. So at the opening of the penis, they'll give you those cotton buds, right? That you swab and you have to give the nurses or the doctor that's there. So they will not touch you there. You have to do it yourself. But if it's stuff where they have to examine a female, of course you lie on a bed and they have to check. Because obviously you can't see your inside, and they know what to look out for. And for the men also, they'll have to check what you have an abnormal ingrown that you haven't even noticed because you're just moving and thinking it's normal. So you are expected to give a blood sample, a urine sample, a vaginal or urethra swab, and a physical examination because they need to know what's going on or what's wrong if there are any signs or symptoms at all.
Yeah, and you spoke of stigma. So how do we navigate around stigma in relation to STIs? Because most of the communities where we're coming from, people are quite judgmental.
Yes.
So how can we navigate around the stigma? Because I feel stigma most of the times hinders people from opening up and coming out. So how can we best navigate it?
So first of all, people must understand that it's not that a person has multiple sexual partners that they got that STI. It's not that a person is promiscuous, that's why they're getting STIs. People are sexually active and they get STIs. So for starters, we need to do away with the idea of only promiscuous people who get STIs. Because you could be faithful to one sexual partner and then they have other sexual partners that you don't know and you still get the STI, right? And then these are common conditions, these are normal things, and that's why they have treatment and medication for such things, because they're not new to man, they're not new to humans. So everyone on earth, if anything, everyone has had an STI and they don't know. Yes. You know that one that you said, oh, my head was hurting, that's a common type of STI. Yes, you get it via just contact. So you could have made contact and had contact with an infected person. The goodness of that one is that it goes away on its own. It's called a cold sore. It goes away on its own because it's very common amongst humans. So the body has found a way of adapting to get rid of it on its own. So every one of us had an STI before. And you say, yeah, that's
mind blowing, but okay.
This sore just came out, or this pimple came out because my head was hurting, and my grandma would say, no, ni mutu chabe, yes, chironda cha mutu. It's not chironda cha mutu. That's a common type of STI.
I heard that just a few days ago.
You see? So you need to do away with the thing of stigmatizing people because they've gotten a condition or they've gotten a disease because they are sexually active. As humans, we're meant to reproduce. We're meant to be sexually active. Yeah. So there's no way that you're going to stigmatize one person because they had syphilis. And now you find people going mad because they're scared of getting treatment. Some of these mad people you see in the road, it's untreated syphilis that goes to the brain and damages the brain that you actually get sick.
We blame the ancestors.
Yes, and you say, no, business because the person was scared of being traumatized or stigmatized that they just decided to sit with that condition and they got mad.
Okay, so having that in mind, how often should I go for an STI test or screening?
Yeah, coupled with that, I wanted to add, most men have been interacting with a lot of guys, but not too comfortable with the idea of going for a regular checkup each and every time because
so if you're sexually active, you must go for checkups every 3 months.
Okay.
If you're sexually active, go for checkups every 3 to 6 months.
Does that apply to a person who's got one sexual partner?
Everybody must go for checkups. Everybody. Be it you have one sexual partner, you have 5, you have 6, you have 10, you have a family, a football team. Go for checkups every 3 to 6 months. Okay. So for HIV, I tested every 6 months. But for these other STIs, you're supposed to be tested every 3 months.
Okay.
Yes. Syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, bola, genital warts, herpes, you're supposed to be tested every 3 months because these help you prevent damage to your health. Yes, this can help prevent, if you go for regular checkups, they will help you prevent damage to your health. Okay. Because imagine you have syphilis today, and you don't really know. You sit on it and say, no, it will go away, and it doesn't go away. Before you know it, you're picking papers more road, and they say, no, she was just fine. No, go for regular checkups because these help prevent damage to your health.
Okay, so this time around, I want to get a bit personal with you.
Yes.
In terms of your family upbringing, yes. How has it been in terms of your parents talking about, how involved were they in talking about how to prevent STIs and whatnot? What has been your experience with it?
I come from a very conventional family. My family is Catholic, so yeah. So growing up, I had aunties and uncles. Like, you were not allowed to talk to your mom concerning anything to do with your reproductive health, right? Even the time I became of age, I had to tell an auntie or a grandma. I couldn't go directly to my mom and say, "Oh, my periods have started."
Yeah.
You have to, there's a channel of communication. Okay? Yes. And with that, I'm not really open with my mom when it comes to my sexual life because it's just in me. It's been embedded in me that we must tell an auntie who will tell another auntie who is going to tell your grandma, then is going to tell your mom. Yeah. Understand? Yeah. But then with that, there's distortion of information somewhere. And then they will not express to my mom how I really feel about it. So right now, me and my mom are getting to understand each other that I'm a grown-up. I will be sexually active. She will need grandchildren at some point in life.
It's the shift for
me. Yes, which is not, I'm not promoting teenage pregnancy. I'm not promoting early child marriages. please wait to be of the right age. And these things are even better when you're practicing them in marriage. But to understand that young people are still being sexually active, and parents need to get on board. I know we are a Christian nation and we're conventional, but we're moving with time. And if I don't learn from my mom, I'll go and learn it from my friend. That's what young people are doing. And if my mom doesn't tell me the right information, I'll go and Google that stuff. Or I'm going to ask a friend who's going to direct me wrongly. So parents, I will urge parents to find a way that they can help young people home, their children at home, to be open about these things. Because if I learn from my mother, it will be more impactful to me. Yeah. And then she will instill the values and the morals that in me that will never leave me. If my mother tells me the importance of maintaining one sexual partner, trust me, there's no way I'm going to have 5. Yeah. Because my mom or my dad has told me to protect yourself, maintain one sexual partner, condomize, abstain, be faithful, stuff like that, right? So parents need to get on board, and they are our biggest partners in this fight. Because young people have the knowledge, but we're still looking at how much the rapid rise of cases that we're having in STIs. So as organizations, there's only so much we can do. There's only so much you can go in the community and tell them, abstain, be faithful, shani, and whatnot, right? But if it comes from a mother and say, oh, this is how life is. There's STIs, there's syphilis, there's gonorrhea, and these are signs and these are symptoms. So please, you either condomize or you abstain. Yeah. If you can't abstain, condomize and be faithful to one sexual partner. It's easier, and it's coming from your mother, it's coming from your aunt, it's coming from your dad. It will carry more weight than Francine just going and tell you, oh, condomize. Exactly. Who's Francine to you at the end of the day, right? Yeah. But if it's coming from a source close to home, it's very impactful.
Yeah, because there's a saying, if you don't teach your child the wow,
we'll teach them.
Exactly.
And even before we conclude, actually, I think on the issue of parents, I feel like there's just such a shift from beware of dogs at the gate and don't touch my daughter to when are we seeing, someone like exactly what's happening in between. Don't just shift from okay, don't do this to okay, now we're expecting someone. Exactly. Be part of the process. Parents need to be part of the process even as we get to adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah. So as we're coming to the end of the program, your closing remarks.
My closing remarks: health is wealth. That's it. Health is take care of yourself.
Straightforward to the point.
Health is wealth. Take care of yourself. You're a young person, but you won't be young forever. And what you're doing right now has consequences later. So make sure the decisions you're making as a young person will not have you regretting 5 years down the line. You're hot right now, you're a hot girl, you're a hot boy right now. But next 10, 15 years, there is always going to be somebody hotter. Be confident in yourself, believe in yourself, you're a young person, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent. Make wise decisions.
Like that.
Okay, I think I can't say it any better. Francine has taken all the words out of my mouth. But I do hope that you have gotten something from this session. Albert, I don't know if you've gotten something, but I think I've gotten a clue.
Oh, Lord. We don't have a motive, just specific.
Please don't go looking at people funny.
Yes. No, don't go look at people funny. Remember, also, do your own research.
Yeah.
Do your own research, learn on your own, read. Don't be shy about books and getting to know information because information is ever changing. So read more, learn more, and you'll be a better person.
Yeah. This has been the Copper Rose Youth Podcast. Be sure to catch us every Friday on all streaming platforms as we'll be bringing you insightful health information of how to stay healthy and make greater decisions. See you next Friday.
Bye-bye. Bye.